One day I was running on Cherry Creek Path and I came back and I was like, I saw a silver fox. And Alex, like, that was definitely a coyote. Because I was like, it was small and gray and definitely a very rare Russian silver fox.
Welcome to episode 5 of the Smart Alec podcast. It is Friday, February 22nd. It is day 50 of the legislative session, and there are 70 days left. I am your host, Majority Leader Alec Garnett. As you guys all know, I am a state representative in the Colorado House. I represent House District 2, and as always, I'm here with Ethan. What's up, man?
Hey, I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm doing great. We have a great episode coming up. We are going to talk cryptocurrency and blockchain with the First Lady of House District 2, my wife, my brilliant partner, the mother of my children, Emily Garnett. That's going to be super exciting.
Yeah, that'll be cool. I mean, blockchain, cryptocurrencies, it's the future, right?
You know, there was a period of time where I thought I was going to become a Bitcoin miner. You know, you can mine Bitcoin.
Yeah, the only thing I know about that is from watching weird YouTube videos of Bitcoin miners in China who have whole warehouses full of computers.
Do you own any Bitcoin?
Not yet.
I do. I own 0.00. Emily and I do, 0.0009% of a Bitcoin.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's cool. She's like an expert on cryptocurrencies and on blockchain, so it'll be great to have her on. Last night we had the judiciary hearing, so the first stop for the Extreme Risk Protection Order bill that we talked about last week, also known as the Deputy Zachary Parrish III Violence Prevention Act. You were there. You were there till the very end.
Yeah, the very end around 11:30 at night. Probably later than that. I think after we debriefed. I think I left the Capitol technically today, very early today.
That's
at
right.
12:15, 12:30.
You know, it's one thing that I just love about the legislative process. You know, the hearings, so every bill has to go through a hearing in each chamber. It's really the opportunity for the public to engage. You know, we didn't have as many people here as we have on other bills, but it was a packed room, a lot of people in support, some people in opposition, but it was a very respectful debate, very emotional at times, and I felt like we did our job as representatives yesterday, making sure we opened up the process to the public.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so why don't we just go back and explain from the get-go, why were we there so late last night?
Yeah, so the committee hearings usually start at 1:30 in the afternoon. The bill sponsors,
And what is a committee hearing?
Yeah, so we break up each chamber into different committees of jurisdiction. So last night we were in the Judiciary Committee. It's a committee of lawmakers, both Democrats and Republicans, usually attorneys who have activists who have worked in the criminal justice system. So they have some expertise in the judicial branch. And so that's where the Extreme Risk Protection Order bill was sent. It was calendared, came up in committee yesterday afternoon, and members of the public were able to come and testify, which was great.
Yeah, so this is really the point in democracy where members of the public are able to participate.
Yep, that's exactly right. And, I think we probably had over 100 people there. And remember, this bill is about temporarily removing a firearm from someone who's deemed dangerous to themselves or others. And so as you can imagine, there were a lot of really impactful stories. I mean, one woman testified and said, we're reliving, all of these people who were testifying in support of the bill are reliving some of the worst days of our lives to educate members of the Judiciary Committee on the importance of passing the Extreme Risk Protection Order bill. And so that just sort of, I think, captures, how how at times emotional the testimony was yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, really, all these people talking, people who have been victims of gun violence, people who have had members of their family as victims of gun violence. And also, really a big part of the bill is this bill is aimed at mental health and preventing suicides. So we heard from a lot of people who had family members been victims to suicide by gun, and also heard from some people who themselves went through very hard times, periods of very deep depression, and they were talking about how something like an ERPO law or a friend of theirs taking away their gun probably saved their lives.
Yeah. And so, listeners, if you want to read the bill, it is House Bill 19-1177. There is a lot of great polling out there. The vast majority of Coloradans support this idea. But if you support it, don't hesitate to reach out to your representative and to your senator and encourage them to vote for it.
Yeah, there's one poll where it said something like 87% of Coloradans support, going before a judge and temporarily removing the firearms from someone who is a danger to themselves or others. So that really is, but the small 13% of the population opposed to that, they're incredibly loud. So if you want to, please call your representatives, call your senators, so we have that 87% of people very loud and reflective in our representatives and our senators in their constituent communications.
Awesome. All right, let's get to the interview with Emily.
All right.
Awesome. Welcome to the Smart Alec podcast, to actually one of the brain trusts of the creation of the podcast, the First Lady of House District 2, Emily Garnett. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you. I'm so excited to finally be here.
I know. It's episode 5. We should do this every episode.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see.
All right. So we are here. You are a blockchain, cryptocurrency legal expert, and you followed a bill through the legislative process. And you're going to help all of us kind of unpack the new emerging market of cryptocurrency, right?
Yeah, I'm super excited to talk about it.
And so, it sounds to me like there's more cryptocurrencies than just Bitcoin.
There are hundreds, and there are new cryptocurrencies being invented every day. You could go out and create your own cryptocurrency if you wanted to.
Kind of like a cryptocurrency around the Smart Alec podcast.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, so let's for our listeners and for me and for Ethan, let's walk through a hypothetical creation of a currency and talk about how this bill would interact with it.
Yeah, so I think an example that I've used in the past is the idea of an ice cream platform and an ICE token, let's call it.
ICE token.
Yeah, not to be confused with ICE, which we want to get rid of. But this ICE token would serve as the equivalent of dollars or cash, right?
Okay.
So let's say that...
How do you create an ICE token?
From code from some really smart people.
And so let's pretend you're going to create the platform for the ICE token.
I'm going to create the platform. So I need money, right? So I'm going to go out and I'm going to do my initial coin offering, ICO.
ICO. And so I can invest during the offering, I could give you $200.
Yep. And in exchange, I would decide what the ICE token was going to be exchanged for US dollars. So let's just keep it easy. $1 US gets you 1 ICE token.
Okay.
So you give me $200 US, I give you 200 ICE tokens.
All right, I get these 200 ICE tokens. What can I do with an ICE token?
For now, wait for me to get the platform going, right?
Okay, all right.
But once I'm raising money from you and from Ethan and from other investors, I take all that money, I pull it together, I start writing the code for the software, I hire employees that go out and they talk to the different ice cream stores in town, they go to Sweet Action, they go to Little Man, they go to Licks, and they say,
Bonnie
hey,
Bray.
Bonnie Bray, let's not leave anyone out.
Oh yeah, is that the one
on
over
17th, 19th?
Yeah, over in Uptown?
And we little by little pull together a group of people, a group of ice cream companies that want to sell ice cream on the platform. And we say, listen, you've got a captive audience because these people are going to have ICE tokens that they need to use to buy ice cream.
So I can't get anything else with my ICE token other than ice cream.
At this point, no, right? But eventually, maybe there are secondary exchanges where you can resell that ICE token.
All right, we'll
and
keep
make
it
money,
simple.
but
We'll keep it simple.
Yes, yeah. And so then in the interim period, after I've done my ICO, I've raised my funds, I'm creating my platform. Eventually, you, Alec Garnett, the platform is live or it's like gone past its beta stage, and you go on and you buy, your ice cream of choice from Sweet Action using your ICE token.
Mint chocolate chip.
There you
So
go.
if I'm Sweet Action and I get an ICE token, what does that mean? What can I do with that?
Yeah, so then the retailers can take the ICE token, or keep in mind, this could be Bitcoin, it could be any other digital currency, and they can either convert it to a standard digital currency, the main ones being Bitcoin or Ethereum, or they can convert it back to US dollars.
Cool. And so in this bill, we created an exemption. Talk a little bit about what types of coins are exempted.
So under this bill, it says that if your coin has a utility or consumptive purpose, that's a legal term,
Like buying ice cream.
Like buying ice cream or buying some sort of service on a platform, as long as it meets the requirements as spelled out in the bill, then it is not a security. And why folks may care about that is that if something's deemed a security, you have to register it and you have to comply with state and federal law, and it's a big, arduous process.
Now, what would happen if the ICE token became really, really valuable? Like all of a sudden, from the 200 ICE tokens that I received for $200 during the ICO, once the platform got started, once the offering was over, all of a sudden the value of the ICE token starts going up, and now it's worth a lot more than $200. Is that now a security?
Under this bill, no. As long as you complied with the specifications or requirements in the bill, and then of course the Division of Securities has a rulemaking component to all of this, then no, it's not a security. Now, the tricky part about that is then you've kind of benefited from an investment, really, in this underlying token.
Right.
But the bill is really designed more to encourage the promulgation of digital currencies that aren't
so to keep us competitive, to really allow innovation, and to make sure that if you're an entrepreneur, which we have entrepreneurs across the state of Colorado, that you can really innovate, create currencies, and create new coins and interactions with small businesses. And you're not going to have to register as a security.
Yeah, and if you're a company that is in the blockchain space, I encourage you to talk to a lawyer. It doesn't have to be me. Of course,
It does. Yeah, it does. If you're a listener, you know who to call.
But there are some very technical requirements that you need to meet in order to make sure that you fall within this exemption. And of course, it's just an exemption under Colorado law, not federal law. But it's a way for us to compete with our neighboring state, Wyoming. That's really been leading the charge in trying to be a crypto-friendly state.
That's awesome. Well, thanks so much for coming on the Smart Alec podcast. That was super interesting. I'm sure our listeners got a lot out of that. And I think next time we're going to have to bring Ashton, our 3-year-old, on. He can kind of do the intro into the podcast.
I would love that. I think it'd be hilarious. I think the only other thing I'd mention is Blockchain Day. Is next week from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. There are going to be some really cool industry leaders, Shapeshift, Salt Lending. A number of the representatives on the Governor's Blockchain Council are going to just be holding court.
What day?
So Wednesday of next week. So come check it out, learn more about blockchain, cryptocurrencies, meet your legislators.
Blockchain Day at the Capitol.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thanks so much for coming on. Well, that was an awesome interview with Emily. I am so blessed to be her partner in life. And, It's all about making sure Colorado's a competitive state. We don't want to be beaten out by Wyoming or other states when it comes to these types of technologies. And, blockchain is the wave of the future.
I learned a lot from that, absolutely. All these questions that I had beforehand, even questions I didn't even think to ask. It was really great.
With that, we're going to go to the small business of the week. As the listeners know, we always highlight a small business in House District 2, and Elizabeth, our intern, does a great job of highlighting those businesses. Elizabeth, tell us about this week's business.
Thank you, Majority Leader Garnett. My name's Elizabeth. I'm an intern here. And so I'm here to talk about Rose House. It's a community-owned living botanica and plant store on South Broadway. I've been there with my friends a couple of times. And their staff is absolutely amazing. They're all self-identifying plant-passionate folks, which I think is amazing. And they have a plant shelter, so basically people can come in and return abused or damaged plants that they maybe don't have the resources to take care of. And then other people who do can come and adopt them. So I have my own plant. She's a succulent. And she's currently living in my dorm at the University of Denver. So yeah, if you want to adopt a plant, look at plants, buy a plant, make sure you check out Rose House on South Broadway.
Thanks so much for listening this week. Don't forget to go on and like and subscribe and review the Smart Alec podcast. Help us make it to the top of the charts. Ethan, sign us out.
Out.
Peace. Thanks for listening.